Hey, fellow truth seekers, I'm Justin.
And I'm Brandy, and together we'll be your guides on this spine-tingling journey through the unknown.
We dive headfirst into the eerie realms of cryptids, from Bigfoot to Loch Ness Monster.
And hold on tight, because we'll explore spine-chilling encounters with extraterrestrial beings and UFO sightings that will leave you questioning what's really out there.
Beyond the Shadows is not your average paranormal podcast. Our goal is simple: to shed light on the shadows that haunt our world and confront the unexplained with an open mind.
And for the skeptics, don't worry, we have something for you too. Our conspiracy theories will challenge your beliefs and make you question everything. So, if you're fascinated by the paranormal, yearn for chilling true crime stories, or crave the adrenaline rush of uncovering conspiracies,
join us on this hair-raising adventure as we journey beyond the shadows.
Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
The following podcast discusses adult situations and gets very sweary. Sensitive ears beware.
You know what? Fuck it. Fuck my whole life.
You're listening to Fuck My Whole Life, brought to you by Fuck My Work Life, a podcast within a podcast where we venture outside of the workplace to bring you stories of mishaps and shenanigans from all aspects of life. Because if we can't laugh at ourselves, what are we even doing?
Welcome back, fuckers, to the Fuck My Whole Life podcast.
That's right.
Episode 2.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed our debut episode of Fuck My Whole Life with Dan. He kept saying, oh, my life's not that interesting, but his stories were really good.
Yeah, they're quite interesting.
Yeah.
Good old Double O Dan.
Double O Dan. And
Kidnapped by South Americans.
Yeah. He said he's got more stories too. So we're going to get him back on at some point to tell more of his harrowing vacation stories and health stories.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys didn't listen to that, it's the previous episode to this one called Torturous and Redundant.
Colon.
I didn't call it colon.
You didn't call it colon.
No, I just called it Torturous and Redundant. I don't want to put colon in a title.
I don't know. It could be like porn.
I mean, a lot of our episodes do deal with this shit, so I guess it would be fitting. But anywho, we still aren't drinking.
Yeah.
It's still January.
A few more days.
We're not going to do we drink because we work because it's Fuck My Whole Life.
Yeah.
But we've been trying a few non-alcoholic beers.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job of like curing the craving, especially as soon as I get home, after a work day, get home and crack open a non-alcoholic beer, and it takes the craving away from wanting to drink.
Yeah. I don't want to drink a lot of them because they still have like the calories of a beer, and that would, what's the point if you're not going to get drunk? It's just like empty calories.
Give my liver a break.
I mean, for me, not you.
Yeah.
I don't want to just drink non-alcoholic beer. I satisfy the craving with my La Croix. Oh no. We got the Poochie Kitty entering the studio. There's going to be some hissing and growling happening any moment now. So, moving on. Do you know what's coming up in a couple weeks, Jay?
I have an idea.
What do you think it is?
Our 3-year podiversary.
That's right. Can you believe we've been doing this for 3 fucking years?
I can.
Oh, I can't. It feels like longer and shorter at the same time.
Well, there you go.
You know how time works.
Yep.
Great.
It feels like it's been longer, but it feels like it's been shorter too.
I mean, you don't ever get that feeling where it's like, it feels like we started ages and ages ago. And I mean, I don't know. Time is just fucking weird when you're old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Like the last 4 years have flown by, but at the same time, the whole COVID thing feels like it was centuries ago.
It does.
So weird shit like that. You know, man? Yeah, man.
COVID feels so long ago.
Yeah. So yeah, 3 years in like end of February, I think is when we posted our first doohickey. We're not doing anything special for it
Nope.
because whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, if you guys want to wish us a happy anniversary, you can just send us a message and we will be grateful.
yeah, we'd be grateful.
But if not,
or money, or
Yeah.
you know,
beer, because it'll be February.
yeah,
And we talked about a couple episodes ago, we had a special guest coming to visit, and then maybe we would record something while they were here, which we did not do.
oh yeah,
But we did have a really good time. Dustin from Dustin Can Read and Watch and the Rewatch Recap podcast came out and spent the weekend with us.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of fun. It was crazy to meet someone in person and have them stay in our home.
Yep.
When you've never actually met in person, but I've known him for 3 years and spoke to him a lot, recorded with him a lot. So yeah, it felt like we knew him in real life, and we had fun. We had a really good time. He wanted to cross something off of his bucket list and his mom's bucket list of going whale watching. So we went whale watching.
It was cool. I mean, it was a fucking nightmare, but it was also pretty cool.
Yeah. He came on the weekend where it just happened to rain all weekend in San Diego.
Yeah.
And the whale watch started and it wasn't raining, and it wasn't supposed to start raining until after we were done. But we get all the way out to sea, and then just pouring rain. But then a little baby humpback.
Yeah, like a juvenile humpback.
Well, it was playing in a kelp patty, and we stopped.
Yeah, it was really cool. For like 45 minutes, this humpback whale was playing in the kelp patty. It was really cool.
And then the baby sea lion.
Oh my God, that little fucker.
That found our boat. And I don't know if he like lost his mom or was just scared, and he was just circling the boat, just yelling. Ah!
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever heard what a baby sea lion does. I'm going to push my microphone away, and this is my depiction of it.
Look at Ghost's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty accurate. And it was so sad because he just kept swimming around like, help.
Yeah, it definitely pulled at your heartstrings. But then, one of the guys who worked on the boat was like, yeah, you try to reach down and touch that baby sea lion. Mama's not far. You might just end up being her lunch.
Yeah. So it was fun, but it was pouring rain while we were sitting there watching this humpback, and we got drenched. Just soaked from head to toe.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of just set the tone for the rest of the day, because, there's a lot of things we wanted to do past Saturday, and we ended up changing clothes, going to lunch, and then coming back and taking a nap.
Yeah, it was, but it was cool. It was,
it was fun. Yeah. Dustin,
even though we dealt with the rain, we saw something that a lot of people who go whale watching don't ever see.
Yeah.
And
Dustin introduced me to Doctor Who. We got real high and watched Doctor Who Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that regularly at all. It's very rare that I partake in weed.
Yeah, I don't ever.
But I bought some gummies, and I had like a gummy, and I was high.
Yeah.
It was fun though. I had a blast. So yeah, and then we went to brunch on Sunday, got really drunk on mimosas, and then dropped him off at the airport drunk.
Yep.
But no, we had a really good time with Dustin. I hope we weren't too boring for him, because we're old and boring, but it was fun to hang out with him.
And if we were too boring, he was a soldier. He dealt with it.
Yeah. He wasn't like, you guys suck.
Well,
out loud.
I mean, if it was sunny, we'd be more inclined to do things. But like once the rain started Saturday morning, it didn't end the whole time.
Yeah.
It was just rain, 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 rain. And it's like there's already so little to do where we live.
Yeah. I mean, that's not true. People come to San Diego to do lots of things. We just don't do those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it wasn't raining, I would have been like, let's go to the wild animal park or the zoo. But, you can't do shit like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was that. It was fun. we have any other housekeeping? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Podiversary, Justin's visit, the end. Dry January. Meh. Still binge watching Project Runway. I started back at the beginning now.
Yes, you are.
Jay loves it.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, we finished Fargo.
Yep, finished Fargo.
That was really good. If Juno Temple is not nominated for an award for that role, I'll be very surprised.
She probably won't be. It's because all the award ceremonies just happened and that show just ended. And typically, like, the people who have their shows that end at the beginning of the year, it's got to be a huge show for them to be nominated. They're not going to nominate her.
We'll see. All right. So we're going to share some of our own personal fuck my whole life stories, because I feel like we can't really share our work stories too much because we try to keep our work out of fuck my work life. So it's just, we like getting paid. So, but fuck my whole life, we can absolutely share those stories with everyone. And hopefully between us sharing our stories and Dan's stories last week, it'll pique your interests. Or if you guys all have that one friend that has that story that you've heard 5 times and you're sick of it, but it's a great story, send them our way. Tell them we want to hear their story. It's like, yeah. So do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. So I hinted at this when we were talking with Dan, because he had all his medical stories, and I haven't had any extreme medical issues or procedures per se in my life, but this one happened recently. And just talking with people on our Discord and just knowing how life is in America, our healthcare system is fucked, and our health insurance is a fucking scam. And I never really knew how much so until the middle of last year.
Until you actually needed it for more than just like
basic
checkups.
Shit. Yeah. So here we go. I had to write down notes so I could keep my timeline straight of this story because my memory is shit. So around May of last year, I started getting this weird pain in my lower back. And at first I thought maybe it was sciatica just because it was like in my lower back. And I guess I didn't really understand exactly where the pain of sciatica was. So it's kind of hard to explain, but it was basically kind of surrounding the back of my pelvis on my left side. Like my right side was totally fine. It was kind of just around the area of like my pelvic bone in my back. And I've had back pain before off and on. It usually goes away after a few days. I stretch it out, it's fine. So I'm like, it'll probably go away. And it just kept getting worse. Like Jay can attest to, like, I would just try to stand up from sitting and I would just kind of like kind of like wince in pain. I'd have to stop myself because there'd just be like a certain point in my like how I bent that it would just be shooting pain.
It sucks.
In my back. Yeah, it was.
I felt bad, like, because you were in pain, and you've seen me with my back pain before.
Yeah.
Like, it fucking sucks.
It sucks. It hurt to drive, just the way I sit in my car. I couldn't get comfortable to drive. Like it was bad. And I mean, not that it would have mattered, but I waited too long thinking that it was going to go away. It was going to go away. And it got to a point where it was just so bad. I couldn't sit for too long. I couldn't stand for too long. I couldn't sleep because I couldn't get comfortable in a comfortable position to sleep. So I finally go on our little healthcare app to set up an appointment with my doctor and can't get an appointment until like 2 months away. So I'm like, well, fuck. I make the appointment, put myself on the waiting list in case something cancels, and just figure it out. I mean, I've been dealing with it that long. I continue dealing with it until, I can get my appointment. So a few weeks go by. I keep getting the pop-ups for, an appointment has opened up, but it would be 15 minutes from that time and I'd be at work. I'm like, I can't fucking make it there in 15 minutes. So there were a lot of openings that I had to pass up. But then one day it was like, hey, you got an opening in a few hours. I was like, great, take it. I go, I see my GP. She, has me move around, ask me where it hurts, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, we'll get you an x-ray and I'll give you some ibuprofen for 10 days. Maybe it's just inflamed. And if you take these 10-day, ibuprofen, maybe it'll go away. But in the meantime, we'll get you an x-ray. If it doesn't go away, then you'll probably have to see a pain management doctor and get an MRI, blah, 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 blah. So I get my x-ray, and my x-ray showed nothing major. There's like some degenerative that's hard to word.
Degenerative disc disease.
Yeah, degenerative disc disease in my low back, but all the doctors like, no, that's just normal aging. That wouldn't be causing the kind of pain that you're having. So x-ray showed nothing. I take the ibuprofen for a couple weeks, and then it's still bad. Like, it felt okay when the ibuprofen was working, but it was just immediately bad when it wore off. So it wasn't like helping to relieve any sort of inflammation overall. Go look at my notes. Okay. I messaged my doctor saying, hey, still in pain. What do now? Can I get MRI?
What do now?
What do now? MRI? And I get a message back from her assistant, not even my doctor, that was like, oh, hey, we can't just, schedule an MRI. You have to see the pain management doctor first, and then he has to, order the MRI. I'll put the referral in for the pain management doctor. Great. Okay. So another week goes by and I get the ping. Oh, your referral has gone through. Call blah, 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 pain management doctor. Call his office. Woman that answers is like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, told her the story. And my doctor suggested I see him so I can get an MRI. Or I didn't even say that. I was like, I got a referral, back pain, whatever. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. The doctor doesn't see anyone without getting an MRI first. So I have to see the pain management doctor before I can get an MRI.
But you can't see the pain management doctor without an MRI. He
won't see me without an MRI. And I'm like, so frustrated, but I know it's the woman. It's not the woman's fault on the phone. I was just like, what? My doctor said I cannot get an MRI. She's not going to order an MRI until I see the pain management doctor. And the woman was like, well, I can schedule you with the physician's assistant because she's okay to see me without an MRI. Fine, sure, whatever. If it will get me closer to figuring out, because the way my brain works, I have fucking a tumor growing on my spine, right?
Yeah.
Because you always hear those stories. Oh, yeah, so-and-so just had some back pain and then he was dead 2 months later because there was cancer growing on his spine. So I'm worst case scenario anxiety person. And I'm like, well, what if this cancer is just fucking growing? It's been 4 months now that I've been in pain and I'm just dying slowly and no one fucking cares.
So now Kay has cancer.
Everything is cancer. Oh, hangnail, it must be cancer. Where was I? So I go to see the physician's assistant at the pain management place. She's asking me about my pain and showing me the fucking diagram of spines and shit. And she was like, well, yeah, it's definitely not sciatica. You'd be feeling it in a different area. Not sure what it is, but she's like, I'm not even sure an MRI would help because it doesn't sound like it's your nerves. I don't know how she knew that. She's a physician's assistant, so she must know better than me. So she suggests this test called a SPECT scan. All right, kiddies. A SPECT scan that is kind of like they put radioactive shit inside you and then do a test. And she basically dumbed it down for me and said, it'll just light up where this pain is radiating from. Okay, cool. It just, whatever. Just someone diagnosed me with something. And she's like, I'll put in the order for the test, but just so you know, insurance will probably require 6 weeks of physical therapy before they approve this test. Okay, great. So here's another fucking 6 weeks that this cancer is growing in my back and killing me in my head. So I'm like, fine, whatever. I go and I go to the woman there that was in charge of scheduling the follow-up with this doctor in 6 weeks after the physical therapy and giving me the referral for the physical therapist. And this woman, no joke, at the front desk took a half an hour just to figure out how to schedule an appointment with the doctor that she works for, and then asked me where I wanted to go to physical therapy, and I gave her a couple places around where we live. And she was like, great, okay, cool, I'll let you know when those go through. Okay, cool. So the following week, I get a call from her. She's like, okay, I put your referral in. Here's the number. It's located in a town far away from us. And I was just like, oh my fucking God. I'm like, I'm not driving there for 6 weeks. Can you please give the referral to the one that's close to us? Oh, my mistake. Okay, so another fucking week goes by until I get the referral for the physical therapist that's near us. Call them. Oh, the closest appointment we have is 3 weeks out. Okay, schedule it. If something opens up, let me know. Nothing opened up. I show up to the physical therapy's office. They do the things. They move my legs around, have me do these exercises, and they're like, what are we treating today? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I can't get a diagnostic test.
Yeah. My
back hurts. That's what you're treating.
Back pain.
I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong. And they, just for, okay, lady. So I do that appointment. He gives me some exercises to do. And then he was like, yeah, well, your insurance only approved one physical therapy appointment. So we're going to have to call them back and try to get you more appointments. So the insurance company that requires 6 weeks of physical therapy to get a diagnostic test will only approve one fucking session of physical therapy.
Yeah. Just take the pills.
So they were like, we'll reach out to your insurance. It shouldn't be a problem. Like they're not going to not approve more, but we'll call you as soon as we know. And I was like, okay, you're going to call me when you get the approval. Yes, we'll call you. Okay. 2 weeks go by. No fucking word from the physical therapist. So I'm like, I guess I should fucking call them and see if, they've just been sitting on my approval or whatnot. But that day, I get the mail and there's a letter from our insurance provider. And I open up the letter and it's like, your SPECT test has been approved at this location. And I was like, oh, okay. So like maybe she put some note in there that made it seem like I really needed to get this test without the physical therapy. Cool. I can get my diagnostic test. Yay. I could put my mind at ease. So I call the radiologist office to schedule my SPECT scan. And the woman's like, great, yeah, we can get you in this day and blah, 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 blah. She's taking all my information. And I was like, can you see on your end that my insurance approved this? Like, I'm not going to like show up and have to pay out of pocket for this test. And she's like, nope, I can see it. They approved it. We're good to go. I was like, excellent. Yay. Happy day.
I think not.
So my test was scheduled on a Monday. And the Friday before that Monday, I get a phone call from the same woman, the radiologist. And she's like, hey, have you heard anything from your insurance? And I said, no. Was I supposed to? And she's like, well, I was just like entering the information for your appointment on Monday, and now it's showing that they denied your test. And I was like, but you saw, right? I have the letter. You saw. And she's like, yeah, no, I totally remember. It was showing as approved. She's like, do you have anything from them? I'm like, I have the letter with the approval code in front of me. And she's like, oh, this was like 7:30 a.m. on a Friday. She's like, okay, our insurance biller, maybe they entered the code wrong or transcribed some numbers or something. Like, let me look into this and I'll get back to you today. Okay, great. She calls me back around 1:00 and she's like, yeah, no, your insurance changed their mind and denied it. They really want you to get 6 weeks of physical therapy before you.
And they'll only approve one.
Before they give you this test. And I was just like, at this point, I'm fucking livid. I'm crying. I'm like, I'm so mad. And I was like, oh, hey, our job offers us this quote unquote benefit called health advocate, where if you have any kind of questions for your insurance or a billing dispute or anything, you don't understand your benefits, anything kind of related to your health benefits, they're kind of like a mediator, help you on your side, go to bat for you because they know all the words and the lingo and all that shit. So I was like, ooh, I'm going to use this benefit that our job offers us. Go to their website, no phone number, only contact information is like a form you have to fill out on the website. So I'm like, okay, fill out the form. I'm just like, hey, really frustrated. I need to get this test and, tell them the whole situation. Never fucking heard from them.
Yeah.
Never got back to me. And at this point, because it's been, 5 months at this point since my back started hurting, I'm noticing it's starting to feel a little better. Like the pain is kind of starting to go away. And so I'm like, well, fuck it. It's probably not cancer if the pain is subsiding. So I guess I'll just keep doing these exercises that the physical therapist gave me and see if that helps. And
take a page out the J book.
Well, I mean, I gave up at that point. I fucking gave, like, what can you do? Because the other thing is, these 6 weeks of physical therapy they require have to be in a row. So that first one I took wouldn't have even count.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, fuck it. It's starting to feel better. I give up. I'm done. And that's my story of my back pain. And now I have PTSD anytime I think about going to the doctor. I'm like, I don't want it. I don't care. I'll just fucking die.
Fucking A.
It's insane.
Fucking A.
It's insane. The American healthcare system is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's my fuck my whole life story. Everybody?
It's ridiculous. But it's probably better because if you think about it, a pain management specialist, what do you think that guy was going to do?
Well, they all offered me drugs more than ibuprofen, and I told them no. Like, I don't have an addictive personality, except like for TV. I don't have like a whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have
an addictive personality for
substances.
Yeah, substance abuse.
But I don't want to be on fucking pain meds. Like I don't want to.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous that like an MRI costs them money, so they're gonna make you jump through hoops until you give up. But pills that have killed millions and millions and millions of people, they'll fucking throw those things down your throat for a penny. Yeah, for free. They'll fucking throw them down your throat for free. It's pretty crazy. Like my doctor, my GP, I've only had her for, I don't know, 4 years, and I don't go very often. Once, maybe twice a year. But she already knows, like, I'm not going to take any fucking pain meds other than like ibuprofen that she's going to prescribe to me because... Yeah, my doc, I only go to my doctor once or twice a year. He also knows. I mean, the last time I was in there, it was, your cholesterol. And I was just like, dude, I'm not taking that shit. Like, I'm not taking any pills. Yeah. I'm not. And he was like, no, that's good. If you can make lifestyle changes, You're like,
I'm also not doing that.
Well, with my cholesterol was 230 and 220 is the high mark. And it's like, okay, I don't have a history of heart disease in my family. I'm not severely overweight. I will take a risk of being slightly over on my cholesterol to not have to, eat fucking leaves all day, every day.
You don't have to do it all day,
fucking
every day.
Bushes and fish. Like, fuck that shit.
Fish. That's practically a vegetable.
Fish meat is practically a vegetable.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to eat that way every day, but more often would be good.
I eat pretty healthy.
Yeah.
I don't eat unhealthy. I have my moments where I go weeks on end eating red meat and bacon and shit like that. But for the most part, I eat relatively healthy.
Yeah.
not that many processed foods.
No, and you don't eat like a lot of sweets.
No, I don't
So you're not a
really
big
eat
sugar
sweets.
person.
Yeah.
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 Seti Bimco.
Part 2, The Revenge.
We create revenge sequels for movies that never had them. Movies like
Creature from Black Lake.
Hercules in New York,
The Chappas.
White Christmas,
Psychotronic Man.
Critters,
Return to Boggy Creek.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
Road Tour.
Mac and Me.
Crypt of Dark Secrets. George, remember the time we made a revenge sequel to Equinox and you had to go to the hospital?
Yeah.
Seti Bimco, Part 2, The Revenge. Every Wednesday, any place you listen to podcasts.
What's one of your fuck my
Well,
life stories?
mine is
Jay.
going to kind of lead into the medical industry also.
Great.
So I'm going to tell a few stories of how I got the nickname Crash from my roommates at the time.
I think you alluded to this on Dan's episode too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I moved out here and, I didn't have a car. I lived with my sister,
Sestra.
and started working at work. I almost said it. Started working at work, got a car, it was like a 1997. And at this time, that was only like 12 years old.
Yeah.
A 1997 Ford Probe GT V6. This car was so much fun. It was a little 2-door coupe. It was a Ford, so
Fix or repair daily.
And for I bought it cheap, knowing that I was going to have to do some things to it. And so for the first 6 months of owning it, I was constantly underneath it every weekend in the parking spot where my sister lived, working on the car, buying parts, getting it in reliable running condition, because the person I bought it from had no idea about cars and also had no money to have it fixed up. So
no maintenance had been done on it?
So it had been sitting.
Oh.
So this car only had 80,000 miles on it, and which is pretty good for a 12-year-old car.
Yeah.
So I bought it. I immediately knew what was wrong with it. Fixed that. Something else went. For 6 months, I'd fix something and something else would go, and I'd fix something and something else would go, and then I got it to where it was running really good, and the whole fucking car was fast. It was a fast little car. Because we live in a stupid fucking state, I haven't seen them do it in a while, but on the 78, they would oil the shoulder. Oil the shoulder of the road. So
it's all slickery?
So it's nice and slickery. And I was coming home from work one day, and I was behind a car, and everybody slammed on their brakes. I slammed on my brakes, and you see cars, they jerk out of the way, just in case they can't stop. I probably would have been able to stop if I would have just stayed in my lane.
Yeah.
But I jerked over to the shoulder and immediately just started sliding, bounced off the wall, and then into the car.
Wait, this was in a car?
This is in a car.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm getting to that part.
Okay.
Busted my radiator, but it wasn't gushing all over the place. I just saw that it was slowly leaking. So I was like, okay, I can limp this thing home. I just have to go slow. So limped the car home.
What does limped the car home mean?
Went really slow.
Oh.
Limped it. Like you're limping, you're walking slow. I limped the car home.
Okay.
And pulled it into the driveway and knew that not driving this thing for a while. Basically had to rip the front bumper off because it was trashed. Both fenders off, both front fenders. So I was basically riding down the road with a hood, and then everything else was exposed around the front end of the car. No fenders, no bumper, no nothing. Just wheels, a hood, And I got pulled over. Because in California you're not allowed to drive without a front bumper.
Yeah.
Or
fenders or
whatever. I was looking at what is it going to cost to fucking fix this thing up? And it was just the bodywork, it was just going to be too much. So I sold the car. And this was, I don't know, this was in the summer, at some point in the summer. So I went a couple months just riding with my roommates to work, and then got our tax returns back. I got my tax returns back at the end of the year and bought a friend's motorcycle. And so I had the motorcycle for, I don't know, 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I had it for like 2 weeks. Going down the freeway, I had a helmet on and jacket on and everything. Going down the freeway, same spot on the 78. The shoulders weren't oiled at that time. But, you know, on a motorcycle, when you have to hit your brakes hard, there is no steering. You know, it's not like a car where you can slam on your brakes. There's anti-lock brakes. You can turn the wheel and still kind of move the car around. A motorcycle, you slam on your brakes and you're straight up. You're just going until you stop.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know, but
everybody slammed on their brakes, and I slammed on my brakes. And again, I would have been able to stop. You know, I wasn't going to hit the car in front of me. We were just on our brakes hard. And this is from like 75, 80 miles an hour.
Yeeks.
We're going down the freeway.
yeah.
But the guy next to me in his car is a fucking old car, tire squealing. The car is just moving all over the place. And it just starts inching towards me into my lane. And I think, I mean, I don't know for sure. I could have been going way slower, but I think it was probably around like 55 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
He was right up on my bike on my right side. And so I just ditched the bike. I jumped off the bike, flew through the air, hit the ground, and then slid on my back for a while, and then probably rolled 10 or 15 times, you know,
On the shoulder of the freeway.
on the shoulder of the freeway. Yeah. Cause I was in the fast lane on the bike.
Life in the fast lane.
Yeah. And so, and the crazy thing was like, as I started rolling, I rolled, the last roll was when I think I popped my ankle.
Ugh.
And because it popped me up, it popped me up, and I flew up in the air and actually landed on my feet and then went down to my hands and knees. And then my bike slid right up next to me. Now, Jay used to be not so responsible. So I didn't have insurance on this motherfucker. It wasn't registered in my name.
Yeah, well, you just got it.
I had paid for it, and basically that was it. So I knew I didn't have insurance. You know, everybody jumped out of their car and they were like, "Oh, the ambulance is on the way." And I was like, "Fuck that shit." I picked up my bike. It was still running. I pulled the clutch in, revved it just to make sure it would keep running. And they were like, sit down. The cops are on the way. I hopped on my bike, popped it in first gear, and I was gone.
They're probably like, that guy was probably like a serial killer or
who knows what
a
they
wanted
thought.
criminal.
At that point, I didn't give a fuck.
Right.
You know, and basically traffic is still stopped because I went flying down the freeway. So I go in between traffic and I just go. And, you know, I was maybe 2.5 miles from my exit on the freeway. So again, you know, I was right back up to 80. Like I was probably doing faster than that. I was trying to get home as fast as possible because I knew something or multiple things on the left side of my body were not doing well.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I got off the exit, I was sitting at the stoplight and I looked down at my pants, and my pants are just black from sliding down the freeway. My pants are black. My jacket is ripped open all down my left arm.
And that's like thick padded leather.
Yeah. And I looked down at my ankle, and it looked like I had a baseball on both sides of my ankle.
Ooh.
And my foot just started bouncing on the shifter, like on the peg. My foot was just bouncing because pain, you know.
Well, your body's in shock. Like you probably didn't feel it, but.
No, I didn't feel much.
Yeah.
You know, things felt tight. I could tell something was wrong. So I make it to the house. I don't even turn the bike off or anything. I just I put one foot down and I push the bike to the other side and just let it fall in the driveway and open the garage, walked in the garage, was getting my cell phone out and to call my buddy. And I was like, I got to get my fucking arm hurts like a bitch. I don't know what it is. So I unzip my jacket, and those jackets are very form fitted.
Yeah.
So they're tight. I unzipped it and I was trying to just get my right arm out and I couldn't. So I had to try to like pull it over my left arm.
Mm-hmm.
When I pulled it over my left arm, my shoulder popped it back into place because my shoulder was dislocated.
Yeah.
Popped back into place.
It was like Lethal Weapon style.
Immediately put me on my knees. Like I fell in the garage and was like, where like that pain where you lose all your breath. I fell in the garage and I was like, fucks. So I called my buddy Don and I was like, dude, are you home? Because he lived not that far and no one was home.
Yeah.
But I was the first one getting home. And he was like, yeah, what's up? I was like, dude, I just went down on the freeway. He was like, fuck, where are you? And I was like, I'm at home. Like I picked up the bike and came home, but I'm pretty fucked up. He was like, all right, I'll be there in like 10 minutes. So I just went and grabbed a whiskey bottle and went back up to the garage, locked the house up, called my roommates and was like, Don's coming to take me to the hospital. The bike's laying in the driveway, so don't run over it when you but when Don got there, he picked up the bike, pushed it in the garage.
Did you punch him in the face?
Huh?
Did you punch him in the face?
No, why?
Because you grabbed the whiskey bottle.
Oh, yeah, I know. No, I was just slugging on some whiskey, because that's how you do. So he takes me to the hospital and he's probably in shock, but I'm in shock.
Yeah.
Not really tunnel vision, but I'm not thinking about anything but just get me to somewhere where I can fucking lay down.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. And he, I guess, had never been to the hospital over here before. So he parked on the opposite side of the emergency room.
No.
And so we're having to like walk through the hospital. And finally, this nurse was like, dude, are you okay? And I was like, no. And he was like, what happened? And I was like, I was in a motorcycle accident and, he brought me to the hospital. He was like, there's wheelchairs right there. And he points over at this line of wheelchairs.
That you just were walking past.
That we were just walking past, just following the signs for the emergency room. So I got in the wheelchair. Don wheeled me to the emergency room. This is
I love
where
how the nurse was just like, nah, you get it on your own. You're good.
Well, they're fucking busy doing other shit. That's not their thing. But this is where I was saying, if you ever have to go to the emergency room, whatever you did, you hit your head. It doesn't stub my toe, fell and hit my head.
Yeah.
And because this emergency room was fucking packed. And I told him when we got there, I told him, I had an accident on the freeway on my motorcycle. And they were like, did you get hit? I was like, no, I flew off. I was probably doing like, I don't know, 50. And they were like, oh, okay. And so immediately I got a bed in the emergency room. And then they pumped me full of fucking
morphine.
Yeah. Whoo, man. Don was cracking up.
Were you being funny?
I don't remember, but he was like, dude, you were so fucked up. You like went into full fucking comic relief mode as soon as that needle hit your arm.
Oh my God.
You were just fucking laughing and giggling and cracking jokes,
I don't think I've ever had morphine.
No?
No. Well, I wouldn't. I have yet to have a, knock on wood, any sort of major surgery where I would need that.
Yeah. So
next episode, we'll talk about car accident where she had to have major surgery and be on morphine because I just jinxed myself.
So this is where it gets into the medical field.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to this doctor, and he's I don't fucking know. What do they call him? The guys orthopedic surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. He's an orthopedic surgeon. And when I first went to his office, I was like, I think this motherfucker's on drugs. Because he was like very like with it, like I was like, is this guy a fucking tweaker?
He's on coke.
Probably. I go see him a couple times. I didn't have car insurance, but I had medical insurance. So they just put it through my insurance through work. They look at my ankle. They do an MRI on my ankle. They do an
Oh, you got an MRI?
Yeah, I got an MRI. They do an MRI on my ankle. They did x-rays. They did an MRI on my ankle. And then they did the thing where I like laid flat on a table with my shoulder, and this huge, like long, not fat, but long needle, and they injected dye into my shoulder to see like what was going on in there. Cause my shoulder, this was like at least 6 or 8 weeks after the accident, and my shoulder was it still fucking hurt to do anything.
Well, yeah, those take a long time to heal.
Yeah. They did that. They told me that I tore my rotator cuff, but I also tore my labrum, which is like, I think like your rotator cuff goes around the bone where it connects into the shoulder, and the labrum is like the socket, the socket of it. I don't know for sure. If anybody knows, let me know how fucked up I am saying that. But I tore both of them. I don't know what
broke in my own arm.
I tore both of them, and I'm pretty sure my rotator cuff was like 60% torn.
That's painful.
Yeah, and my ankle, the 3 major ligaments in your ankle were all completely ripped away from the bone.
Oh, God.
So,
did that happen all at once at that pop? Or was it like they're kind of being ripped off your bone as you were sliding across the freeway?
It probably happened all at once. That's why I think that last tumble that popped me back up on my feet was the one my ankle caught.
Yeah.
And it kind of like popped me up. I thought for sure my ankle was broken because it was fucking huge.
Yeah.
But didn't break any bones. Just tore all the ligaments away from the bone. So go in, see the doctor, set up the surgery and everything. Go in for the surgery.
With Dr. Cokehead?
Yeah. And go in for the surgery. And when I got to the surgery place, I paid a $50 copay. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was for my surgery.
Right.
Yeah. No, that was to see the doctor.
Oh.
To see the doctor who was doing the surgery, there's a different copay for the surgery.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you usually have to pay copay for all those things.
But it was the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And they didn't say shit to me when I was in there about to go in for surgery. They took a $50 copay from me. And then after the surgery was done, well, I'll get to that. So surgery's done. I've got a cast on, like a half cast, wrapped up for like 6 weeks. Supposed to walk on crutches, but fuck that shit. Go to have like the half cast and my, what do they call it? My follow-up visit after the surgery. They take everything off and they do an x-ray, and he puts the x-ray up on their little
light box.
Yeah, their little light box. And there's like this bright fucking line going through my leg. Mm-hmm. A line and like 2 bolts, 2 nuts.
You had your Frankenstein ankle.
And I was like, what is that? He was like, oh, well, when we got in there, it was much worse than what we thought it was. So than what the MRI showed. So we had to drill a hole through your tibia and fibula and put a titanium bolt in there and bolt it down so those bones wouldn't spread apart because we fuse cadaver ligaments to your bones because all your ligaments were pulled away from your ankle, pulled away from the bone. So we had to fuse ligaments to the bone. And I was just like, well, this is not even
what you signed up for.
25% of what you told me you were fucking doing for this surgery. And so a couple weeks go by and I noticed like my ankle itched, and I thought it was just the healing. No, there was like a 1/4 of an inch of fucking thread sticking out of the scar.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Was it pokey?
It was very pokey.
Yeah. It was like it was a stitch. Sometimes they do internal stitches.
No. After they took the stitches out, because they took the stitches out that they stitched me up with. This was poking through my scar, and I ended up yanking on it and pulling like an inch of suture or some shit out of my fucking foot. And when you saw the scar, it looks like this guy just kind of threw the scalpel at my ankle and was like, yep, that's the cut.
He wasn't worried about aesthetics.
No, and I was scheduled to go back into surgery with this guy for my shoulder. And I was like, nah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And then started getting calls. You have a $150 copay you have to pay. I was like, I paid a copay. No, that copay was to see the doctor that day. That's not the copay for the surgery. And I was like, I didn't even fucking see him. I was put under.
Right.
Like, what do you mean see him?
No, he was there talking to
like,
you.
he came in the room for 2 minutes before they wheeled me back and put me to sleep. Like, what the fuck? I got paid $50 for that.
You had to pay him $50 to walk into the room and grace you with his presence. That's how we do here. Damn, I should have been.
I feel like I paid $50 for him to do a bump before he started cutting on me.
I mean, it happens in surgery. Sometimes they have to do other things, but that seems very fucking excessive from like, we're going to do this little thing to all. You didn't consent to having dead body in your ankle?
Yeah. Maybe that's why I kick you in the middle of the night for no reason. It's the ghost. It's the ghost ligaments.
Yeah.
Just like kicking when in my sleep.
Haunted leg. Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's probably so many medical / health insurance stories out there. Send them our way.
Yeah.
To fuck my whole life. I had other stories to get into tonight, but I feel like these were long
Each
ones.
one of those was like half an hour.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So we'll save the other ones for future episodes. So next week we are going to have, hopefully, if everything goes as planned and I can edit in time, we'll have Adam and Matt from Decaying with the Boys on. And I think that's going to be a fuck my work life. It might be a fuck my work / whole life. Yeah. We'll see.
A collaboration.
We'll see when we all start chatting how it'll be.
When we start getting shitty.
Yeah, when we get fuckered up.
Yeah, that's right.
Drinking that burr.
Getting liquored up.
Yeah.
So the next podcast will be much. I actually had someone at work say, "Are you guys doing dry January?" Yeah.
You could tell.
Your podcast sounded really like you guys sounded really like held back, and I was like, yeah, well, we recorded right when we started dry January, so it was kind of like a wah wah kind of recording, but
I wasn't that bad.
No, I wasn't that bad.
But yeah, I think people probably tell that we weren't shitty. So yeah. So tune in next week for Decaying with the Boys. Send us your work stories, your life stories. We really want to hear them. Share them on the pod.
Yeah.
And then I guess that's it. Bye, fuckers.
Bye, fuckers.
Thank you for listening to the Fuck My Whole Life podcast. If you have a story to share, send it our way to fmwlpod@gmail.com or leave a voicemail at 310-818-3273. For more fun content, check out our socials at fmwlpod and join our Discord community to chat with us and your fellow fuckers. All links can be found in the show notes. Until next time, bye fuckers.